Hello everyone, I'm Jacqueline, and today we will explore a wine that I recently discovered and just fell in love with after visiting the region where it's produced. I'm talking about the Lugana wine from Lake Garda. Let's go! Lugana DOC is a small appellation located in northern Italy across 6 towns on the border of Lombardy and Veneto. It's an area that touches the southern shores of Lake Garda and thus gets all the beneficial influence of the lake, in particular some factors that soften the climate and make it particularly mild, almost Mediterranean in character. As we have touched on in our previous videos about the Lake Garda region, the soils around the lake are of morainic origin, being the result of an ancient glacier retracting. And here, in the Lugana territory, the southern shores of the lake, the land is even and mainly flat, with the soils being made up mostly of clay. To the wine's benefit, however, there are some calcareous components that make them rich in mineral substances. By the way, if you want to learn more about the Lake Garda wine region, we made a whole series of videos about it, and you can find those links in the description below. The beautiful landscape covered in vines that we admire today on the southern shore of Lake Garda is not what it used to be. In fact, in ancient times, this area was covered in what was known as the Selva Lucana, hence the modern name Lugana, or a dense and marshy forest that was reclaimed only in the 15th century by the Venetian Republic. But even before that, wine was already produced in the area, as many traces of viticulture date back to Roman times. Traces of the Roman presence in the area can still be found in the famous Roman villa known as the Grotte di Catulo in the Sirmione Peninsula and in the Villa Romana in Desenzano. In the modern era, wines from this area, or Lugana wines, were recognized DOC, or Denominazione di Origine Controllata, in 1967, making it one of the first recognized wine denominations in Italy. The superstar of the Lugana DOC appellation is the native grape variety called Trebbiano di Soave, here also known as turbiana or Trebbiano di Lugana. It's a high-quality white grape variety that is believed to be genetically very closely related, if not identical, to the famous Verdicchio, a variety grown in central Italy. Turbiana is characterized by its thick skin, which helps to protect the grapes against disease and pests, as well as its ability to retain high levels of tartaric acid, even in warmer climates. The tartaric acid helps make it possible to produce both crisp and refreshing wines, as well as age-worthy ones. This explains why many different variations of Lugana exist. The standard and most common type of Lugana is known simply as Lugana DOC. It's a fresh, crisp wine with flowery aromas and hints of almond, as well as citrus notes like lemon or bergamot. On the palate, these wines are light-bodied and refreshing, but have a long finish with a pleasant acidity that makes it a perfect wine to pair with pastas or risottos. The next one, Lugana Superiore DOC, is a higher quality wine since it has to go through at least 1 year of aging before release. Some producers will use wood barrels, even though it's not required by law. This extra aging can give the wine a more golden hue, as well as a more complex flavor profile, with notes of nuts and more almonds emerging alongside the usual fruit and floral aromas. These Lugana Superiore are richer and more full-bodied than the regular Lugana wines, and they pair well with richer dishes like roasted chicken or pork. Finally, the highest quality of the Lugana wines is the Lugana Riserva DOC. A step up, this Riserva is even more complex than the Superiore, as it has to be aged for at least 2 years before being released. At least 6 months of this aging must take place in the bottle, giving it an even more complex flavor profile than the Lugana Superiore. The Lugana Riserva is characterized by more buttery notes with hints of vanilla, oak, and spice that can blend together very well with the fruity flavors and the acidity that are still discernible. Thanks to its long and intense finish, this wine is perfect for pairing with more hearty dishes, like stew or roasted game. Lugana Riserva wines are typically straw yellow in color, with golden reflections on the border. It's worth mentioning that there is also a very intriguing sparkling version of Lugana, known as Lugana Spumante DOC. It can be made both with the Charmat method, or second fermentation in steel tanks, but also with the classic method, using the traditional method similar to champagne. Finally, There's also a sweet version of this wine, the Lugana Vendemmia Tardiva, or late harvest. So that's it for today. This was just a very brief overview about Lugana DOC wines. It's an amazing wine that should definitely get more attention by wine lovers seeking a complex and rounded white wine. But it's also reasonably priced, which is nice. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It helps us making more content like this. I'll see you with the next glass.